Well, welcome all the way from Bali. I'll tell you what, I'm pretty excited. She's all happy, mate. I'm at Potato Head, big fella. The Don't Argue, of course, all thanks to Palmerbet, big fella. And it's great to be with you, mate. It's great to be back and great to be travelling again,
Mate,
kids.
how good. The Don't Argue going international. Mate, probably being live streamed. Going live streamed to the Potato Head crowd at the moment.
International, mate. They've got the DJs coming up this weekend too, which is right up your alley, kids. And
Yeah.
the Palmerbet hat, they stopped me through customs and said, hang on, hey, listen, we've heard about the boys at Palmerbet. We can't let you go any further. So she's all systems go, mate. But listen, what a massive
little bribe, mate, to get you through there. The boys at the gate
there. Even on the scooter, kids, I've already been pulled over once for not wearing a helmet, mate. Cost me $15, so there you go. Hey, listen, we need a end of season trip, mate. That's what we need.
Yeah. Or maybe a strategy meeting for season 2023, mate.
Mate, we've got to get the boys from Palmerbet on board. I'm telling you, they've got to get over here. Surely they can send a boxer or someone over here, or State of Origin can even look to come over here next year for a game.
Yeah, we could, mate. There'd be a market for it. There's plenty of expats made over there watching Origin, so maybe the Palmerbet Don't Argue coming live from Kuta.
Now, listen, I'll tell you what, you know the little side stalls, mate, you know, where you can get all the rugby league stuff, you know, I've bought a couple of pairs of Melbourne Storm shorts and Pappenhausen tops and all that kind of stuff. Well, the top that you cannot get a hold of over here is the Kurt Gidley Newcastle Knights top, mate. You cannot get your hands on it, big fella. Sold out.
Mate, stop making it. Absolutely. Long time ago, they did.
Hey, listen, mate, let's have a look, of course, this weekend, the bunker review, of course. Let's have a little bit of a look from last weekend. And what about the Parramatta Eels, mate? That was absolutely amazing. Second time this year, they have rolled the Penrith Panthers, kids.
Unbelievable, mate. I don't think too many teams in the last, probably three years or so would have beaten the Panthers twice in a season. And the Eels, they've been somewhat inconsistent during this middle part of the season, but they've managed to create the upset again. Obviously, a fair bit of controversy to come out of that game with Nathan Cleary being sent off pretty early on. So they were down a man for the majority of the game, and look, the score blew out in the first half there. The Panthers done pretty well to hold on for the second half. I think they won the second half as far as points scored. So, but yeah, unfortunately, mate, big loss for the Panthers for the next 5 weeks. Nathan Cleary with that spear tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. And no Luai as well, which is another big loss. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they finish this back half of the season, isn't it, kids?
Yeah, it is. Look, they didn't drop a game. I think they were the only team that didn't drop a game during the Origin period, which shows their depth. Obviously, they've got halves that can come in. Cleary and Luai were out during those rep games, and they still managed to play well, play consistently, and not drop a game. But another 5 weeks ahead of him leading into the semis. It'll be refreshed, Nathan Cleary, coming into the semis, but it'll be interesting to see if the Panthers can kick on without him.
What about the Cronulla Sharks, mate? Golden Point victory over South Sydney Rabbitohs. That was a cracking game, wasn't it?
Yeah, cracking game, Matty, that one. And game that we sort of circled in the lead-up last week as the game of the round, I think it might have been. I think Latrell had a number of field goals there in Golden Point to win the game. Unfortunately, couldn't seal it. And I think it was Nico Hines stepped up there and sealed the win for the Sharks. So great game, and just another win for the Sharkies, which will maintain their spot up at the top of the ladder there amongst the top four.
What about the West Tigers, mate? They got another win over top 18. They've beaten the Broncos, South, Eels. Do you think they're building for 2023? This is a good little springboard, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, they've had some controversy at the start of the year with the speculation around Madge, and then they shifted him on. Brett Kamali's done a pretty fair job there. But look, I've been watching them pretty closely the last 2 weeks. They should have beaten the Cowboys last week, got beat after the bell, but were the better team, and then beat the Broncos there last week and played really well. I just think they've been playing with some good shape, but a big loss, unfortunately, during that game. Really nasty tackle on Jackson Hastings. So I think he'll be a big loss, mate. I reckon their season turned around when he came back into the team at 5'8", and has been playing alongside Luke Brooks and Adam Dewey. So I think it'd be a huge loss for the next 5 games for the West Tigers.
Now, what about the Cowboys, mate? They've been the revelation in season 2022 for mine. They dismantled the Dragons on the weekend, but they're 3 games behind the Panthers, top position. So it's 3 wins effectively.
Yeah.
Can
doable.
they just sneak in, do you think? Is it doable, do you think, kids?
Yeah, I think it's doable. And I think they'll see that opportunity at the moment. 3 wins out of 5 games, definitely doable. I'm not sure what those 5 games look like off the top of my head, but yeah, they'll be pretty keen to have a crack at that minor premiership. My only thoughts around that is maybe that Todd Payton, as he gets closer to the semis, he might rest a few guys, the week or 2 leading into the semis. So I'm sure the Cowboys' motivation isn't the minor premiership. It's about the big one, the GF, and he may rest a couple of blokes, but look, they'll still be striving towards, if they tick another win off next week and then another one off the week after that, they'll be... they could be within a shot of it. But as I say, that's not the big prize to be winning that one.
No, not at this time. That's exactly right. You got to look at the big picture stuff, kids. That is for sure. Now, listen, talking about the big picture, what about the premiership odds? All thanks to the guys at Palmerbet. Panthers are at $2, even money. Storm are at $8, Sharks at $8, Cowboys at $8, Broncos at $13. Then you got the Rabbits, the Roosters, and the Eels all at $15. Where's the value there, do you reckon, kids? I know where my value is. I know I'm going to stick with the Melbourne Storm, mate. I'm a proud Victorian big fella, and I'll stick with the Storm at $8. But what other value do you reckon, kids?
I don't know, mate. It's a big gap, isn't it, from $2 to $8? I know the Panthers are 6 clear at the moment, but they've lost their 2 starting halves and 2 of their star players at the moment. They've got some good depth, as we've spoken about, but I like the momentum the Cowboys are carrying at the moment. I've watched their attack, and Drinkwater seems to be, he's been one of the best players all year at fullback there. He sort of played in the halves previously. There was question marks whether he'd hold his position at fullback or whether the hammer would take over, and he's kept him out of the team. And, his speed and his ball work, and he's finishing off that last pass to his wingers really well. So they've got some really good momentum at the moment, and they seem to have a lot of belief in their team. I think they're a good outsider at $8.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great value outside the Panthers for any one of those teams, even a side like the Eels, which has rolled the Panthers twice. They just need a little bit of luck to get there at $15, mate. Unbelievable value.
$15, decent. Decent odds, those ones. But yeah, I'm going to stick with the Cowboys. They've got next 3 weeks. I'm just looking at, they've got Bulldogs, Roosters, Warriors. Roosters will be a bit tougher, but I think they can pretty confidently beat the Bulldogs and Warriors there. So they might pick to have a decent run in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, listen, mate, talking about having a decent run at it, put a line through it. This is your favourite segment.
Favourite, love it now. First week, I was up for a bit of a rocky start, but mate, all over it now, all over it.
Oh, mate, I still have mates texting me about that first week. You bowled over the 4-old Dragons.
Mate, well...
is that now? I was going to say to you, right? So we've bowled over the Titans, Tigers, Knights, Warriors, Bulldogs, Sea Eagles, which was a little bit controversial. Dragons, Raiders are the next 2, and the Roosters in the danger zone. Which way are you going, kids?
Well, mate, I'm going to go back to my first ever statement there when this little segment come out, and I think you'll find the Dragons they're gone. They're gone. Especially they got towed up on the weekend. And they've definitely showed some really good performances on the back of probably Ben Hunt's footy. But mate, I'm going to go back to the first week where I put the red pen through them, but I had no idea what I was doing.
6
weeks ago. Gorski.
Maybe you were right. Maybe you were ahead of the game, big fella.
I'm telling you, I could see the writing on the wall. Gone.
Right, Dragons gone, mate. I love it. And there's going to be a bit of pressure coming next week too, because it could be the Roosters, the Raiders, Raiders, or the Rabbitohs in that dangerous position. Yeah. You have to put a line through someone each week.
The Dragons have got the Sharks and the Raiders in the next couple of weeks, and 2 tough games. Raiders are a tough team who are also fighting for the 8.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Hey, listen, kids, let's have a look at this weekend's round of action. Of course, and it looks like it is going to be an absolute cracker. All thanks to the boys at Palmerbet. And Thursday night at the SCG, it's the Roosters taking on the Broncos. Head-to-head Roosters $1.71. Broncos at $2.15 at the line. The Roosters -2.5 at $1.90. Key stats here, all thanks to Palmerbet. Roosters won their round 5 clash 24-20. It was a good game. Broncos' last game against the Roosters at the SCG, they won 34-16, Gids, and they got a bit of form at the SCG.
Yeah, they have. Pat Carrigan suspended for them. I think that's currently underway at the moment. He's at the judiciary, and he was one who done that nasty sort of hip drop on Jackson Hastings. It was there last week, so I think he'll get a pretty nasty suspension for that one. So he's a big loss for him. He's a real workhorse, and he's certainly some spirit within that Broncos team. So he'll be a big loss. Selwyn Cobbo back for the Broncos, but I'm going to go with the Roosters on this one and just take them 1-12. So I think it could be a tight one. About $3.10.
Yeah. It should be a good game, I reckon, at the SCG. Big crowd, I reckon, Thursday night too. Storm taking on the Titans Friday, 6 p.m. at Amy Park. Head-to-head Storm, $1.15. Titans at $5.50. At the line, the Storm -17.5, $1.90. Key stats here, Gid. Storm have won 7 straight against the Titans. That is unbelievable. And the Titans, mate, they've lost, I should say, their last 9 straight. So they are in terrible form at the moment.
They are. They're struggling big time at the moment. I think it's going to be 10 losses in a row, and I think it's going to be 8 in a row for the Storm versus the Titans. I think this could be a huge blowout score. I just think Melbourne's past that origin period. They lost a few games in a row, which was uncharacteristic of Melbourne. And I think this one can be a real towel up for the Storm in Melbourne, Amy Park, 6 o'clock. So I've got a bit of a different bet, mate. I jumped on the Palmer bet app this afternoon, had a bit of a look at some different markets, and one that I haven't dabbled in before is the total points in the game. And I looked at the maximum total points is 61 or more. So I think it could be a big game. Big game. That's not just for the Storm. That's total points. So even if
for the whole game, that's
for the whole game.
Bet. What's the odds there, kids?
Mate, it's over $7. So I think the Storm can have a real blowout score here, and the Titans might pick up a try or two during the game, but you get some pretty decent odds for a big game in the Storm in Melbourne.
Love it. I like it, mate. Hey, listen, other game on Friday night, 7:55. It's the Manly Sea Eagles taking on the Parramatta Eels. 4 Pines Park, of course. Head-to-head Sea Eagles at $1.85. Eels at $1.95. At the line, Manly -1.5 at $1.90. Key stats, all thanks to Palmer Bet. The Eels won their round 11 clash 22-20. It was a ripping game. And Mako Sivo has 6 tries in his last 4 games, kids. Which way are you going here, mate?
Mate, I think it's going to be a reasonably tight one. I know that the Eels beat the Panthers there last week, but as I say, they're playing against 12 players for the majority of the game. Mate, the Sea Eagles, I think they earned a fair bit of respect last week. It almost, they lost a lot of respect for the players who chose not to play in that jersey, but they also gained a lot of respect for the players who actually played on that night and put it to the Roosters. They had a chance to score there late in the second half, which would have brought them within a try. But I thought they earned a fair bit of respect. The Eagles did at home there after the week they'd had. So, but I'm going to stick with the Eels on this one, 1-12. I think it's going to be a tight one. Eels 1-12, $3.45. But I think with what's gone on at Manly over the last 2 weeks, I just can't see the guys who sat out last week coming straight back in the team. And then, I just don't think that's going to be cohesive as what it was prior to that round.
Yeah.
It's going
to either go one way or the other, I reckon, Gids.
Yeah. There's a bit of mending, mate, to be done there, I think, at that club at the moment, which is, I'm sure it's frustrating for Desi.
I'll bet you it is, mate. But there's one bloke that's magnificent at the top and in charge. I reckon that's Desi Hasler, that is for sure. Hey, Rabbitohs taking on the Warriors Saturday, 3 p.m. Sunshine Coast Stadium. Head-to-head, the Rabbits $1.15. Warriors at $5.50. The line, the Rabbits -16.5 at $1.90. Key stats, all thanks to Palmer Bet. South won their round 10 clash 32-30. Went down to the wire. Alex Johnson has 6 tries in his last 3 games. He is on fire at the moment, kids.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, he knows how to finish. You don't have to give him much room. I think there was a try there where Latrell passed him down that short side, and Mate, the wingers these days, they need no space whatsoever. Most of their body and limbs can be hanging outside the boundary, and they find a way to get the ball to the ground. So he's another one of those, super at it, amazing player for South. He has been, and I'm definitely on the bunnies for this one. Minus the start, $1.90, minus 16.5, I think it is.
Yeah, going all right at the moment, the bunnies, that is for sure. Raiders taking on the Panthers Saturday, 5:30 p.m. GIO Stadium. Head-to-head Raiders, $2.05. Panthers, $1.77. At the line, the Panthers minus 1.5, $1.90. Key stats, Panthers smashed the Raiders 36-6 in their round 7 clash. Panthers obviously missing Cleary and
Luai.
Yep. Luai. I always got to say Lowy. Yep. Luai. Raiders are on a 3-game winning streak. Can they cause a little bit of a mini upset here and get the job done? I must admit, the betting's tight enough, isn't it? $2.05 to $1.77.
Matty, I like their odds. I like that they've played really tough and resilient this year, the Raiders. They've had a couple of really good wins. Down there at Canberra, they always, have a little bit more spring in their step, especially at this time of the year. One of the most interesting games, and probably the game of the round for me this weekend, to see how Penrith go without their halves. And for the Raiders, what are they? They just sit outside the 8 at the moment, and a great opportunity for them to keep pushing to get in the 8, mate. So interesting game. What are we looking at? Yeah, Raiders 22 points on 9th, Roosters at 22 points on 8th, and Rabbits only 2 points ahead of both those teams on 7th, 24 points.
There's a lot more at stake, isn't there, for the Raiders, mate? Let's be honest.
Yeah, there is for sure. I mean, I'm sure Ivan Cleary's driving a pretty strong culture there that they're not just, their whole team isn't just based around their halves. So I think those guys will have a fair point to prove as well. But the Raiders, they're playing for their season. So big game, interesting on and watch. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. I'm still going to stick with the Panthers, though, Matty. I just think, especially on the back of their Origin series, where they still were able to play well, play consistently,
get the job done.
And yep. Can they do it for 5 weeks in a row? I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Hey, Sharks v Dragons is Saturday, 7:35 at Shark Park. They're going well, the Sharks, mate, head-to-head. $1.31. Dragons at $3.50 at the line. The Sharks minus 9.5. $1.90. Key stats, Sharks won their round 3 clash 36-12. Dragons are 7-1 versus bottom 8 teams. 2-9 against top 8 teams. So that's interesting, isn't it? They seem to lift. Isn't that an amazing stat, mate?
Bit like the Tigers, man. Sometimes they get up for the big games, and they make it's an interesting dynamic when the teams.
Even the Eels, mate, are a little bit like that, aren't they? They tend to lift against the better teams as well.
Yep, for sure they do. But mate, I'm going to stick with the Sharks on this one. I think that loss, pretty bad loss for the Dragons last week, might have sealed their fate for the year. I know they'll still be believing in these last 5 games, but I think the Sharks are just classy, mate, this year. We sort of tipped them start of the year to be top 4, and I can't see anything changing there.
Mate, we didn't tip them. You tipped them. If you go back to our very first show, kids, you were all over the Sharks.
Well, mate, I wanted to include both of us in that tip, but yeah, you're right. It was me.
Oh, I love it, mate. I love the humble side of Kurt Gidley, mate. Hey, Bulldogs v Cowboys, mate. Sunday, 2 p.m. at Salter Oval. Head-to-head, Bulldogs $2.60. Cowboys $1.50. At the line, the Cowboys minus 6.5 at $1.90. Bulldogs won their round 1 clash 6-4. Low-scoring, crappy affair. Remember that game, mate?
Yeah.
Bulldogs have not won 3 in a row since 2019.
Wow. That's a long time ago, it feels like. That's all pre-COVID, isn't it? 2019, I think it was.
Yep, spot on.
But, mate, the Bulldogs, I watched them at Newcastle last week. I must say Newcastle weren't great defensively. It was a bit of a worry after the first couple of sets, to be honest. But they played well. The Dogs had some decent shape. I sat down, actually, on the northern end late in the second half. The Knights had probably half a dozen sets on their line. And I just thought their line speed, they were racing up, shutting the Knights down. Knights didn't look like scoring late in that second half. So defensively, I thought they defended well. They defended with effort and looked like everyone was on the same page. So they're definitely playing with some confidence and belief at the moment. But you look at what the Cowboys have have done over the last, probably 10 weeks, and they're playing with probably far superior skill and execution at the moment, but still an interesting game. I've gone for a bit of a multi, mate, on this one.
Yes.
Cowboys to win, Cowboys to score first, and 9 to 10 tries in total. $5.24.
Gee whiz, that's
really done my research, mate. So, yeah,
you are just looking outside the square this week, mate, aren't you?
Yep.
I love it.
Continue to explore different multis, mate.
Hey, listen, let's turn our attention to the final game. It's the Tigers taking on your Newcastle Knights. Head-to-head, Tigers $1.55. Knights, the outsiders, made it $2.45 at the line. The Tigers -4.5, $1.90. Key stats, Knights won their round 2 clash 26-4. So the Knights are up and going in round 2. They were going pretty well the first couple of rounds. Both teams are 1-4 in their last 5 games. Kids, I'm going to call it, mate. I actually reckon that the Tigers are an absolute special against your Newcastle Knights, mate. I know you're not going to like it, but I'm telling you, big fella, I think they're an absolute bet of the weekend for me, mate.
Yeah, did you see my deep breath, mate? Just trying to relax there, mate.
I saw it.
Look, mate, on form, the Tigers over the last couple of weeks, as I said, they've been playing really well. Their shape is looking like it's moving well. Hastings, they've been playing him at lock just to get him involved with some ball playing, also carrying the footy. But I think he's going to be a big loss as far as steering the team around. Dave Cummer is out for the Knights. Bradman Best is in. A couple of changes there. And I just think that Hastings could be a big loss for the Tigers. I'm hoping he's a big loss for the Tigers, to be honest. So, mate, I'm going Knights to win.
Come on.
I'm going Knights to win.
Mate. Geez, you stick fat, kids. I'll tell you what, there is no more staunch bloke I've ever met than Kurt Gidley. You are an absolute animal.
Listen to this. Knights to win into Knights to win between 6 and 10 points. $8.50. I'm going to circle that. I'm going to circle it and put it in my bag, keep it next to my computer the next week. Knights to win between 6 and 10 points. Great odds.
Now, listen, where else we go, mate? All thanks to Palmer Bet, of course, Kurt Gidley's massive multi, of course, his best bet of the weekend. All thanks to these boys at Palmer Bet. Download the app, get involved, gamble responsibly. That is the key message. Even if you're in Bali, kids, you've got to do it in a responsible manner.
That's it, mate. That's it. But Wi-Fi, you've got access, mate, to it anywhere in the world. You can tap into the app these days. So, gamble responsibly, mate. My best bet for this weekend, going to go Sharks 13 plus 220. I just think Dragons could be a bit dusted after that loss last week. And I think they've recently sacked their assistant coaches, which is a bit of a weird time to be sort of getting rid of two of their assistant coaches. So there's some changes there happening already. So I'm going to go Sharks 13 plus 220, best bet, and best value. I'm going to stick with that Melbourne Titans total points 61 plus or more, seven, just over $7.
Yeah, you reckon it's going to be a high scoring affair at Amy Park. The Storm going to absolutely blow them out of the water. Hey, kids, just have a look behind me, mate. See this? They are just over my little shoulder here. Just here, kids.
What do you got there?
They're homemade. They are homemade. We've got a little bit of rum. We've got a little bit of gin. We've got a little bit of everything here, mate. It's magnificent. Don't worry about the old traditional here at Bali Potato Head, big fella. We go a little bit different here, mate. And you'll be pleased to know, too, kids, it's a little bit of a health retreat, mate. So I think I can put it down as a work trip.
Yeah, I need a bit of a health retreat myself. So yeah, I like the sound of that. Massage, health, and then straight on the sauce, mate, for the Arvo sunset. Sunset Potato Head there, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, it's absolutely magnificent. We have a nice little pool where you can kind of lay into. It's a sensational. Kids, with you saying that, I'm actually going to head up there and do that right now, big fella. So listen, you have a wonderful weekend. It is going to be a sensational round of NRL, that is for sure. We're getting down to the business end of the season. Like, share, subscribe, get involved with the Don't Argue. All thanks to Palmer Bet, mate, and I'll see you next week, big fella.
100%, mate. Enjoy your time. All the best, everyone.